Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my September 2019 horoscope report for you. I'm going to give you the top 3 must-knows for your sign, including details like looking at the actual charts and seeing what fields of experience these aspects in the sky are going to drill down for your specific sign and what that looks like and how you can best use the energies. I offer so many free resources. Most of the things that I do are free. So you definitely want to tap into all of the things that I am offering to you. Besides these monthly videos that I offer always a month early, you can also go to cozybysweetstarlight.com to get written horoscopes by me and all kinds of other astrology and other blogs. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com to see all of my astrology blogs plus inspirational blogs and other things there. You can sign up for my free email newsletter where you get a written write-up of the month to come a month early, plus my 28-day virtual coaching program for free at anniehelpsyou.com. So definitely make sure you're tapping into all of the things I am working hard every month to offer you. Now I'm going to go into the details of what your sign has to look forward to in September 2019. Hi Scorpio friends, welcome to my September 2019 horoscope report for you. We have such an astrologically busy month this month. Last month we had about 14 astrological aspects that were noteworthy. This month we have double that. So I'm not going to go into every single one of those, but I will share resources on how you can see more about each and every one of those, and I will hit the top 3 highlights so that you know your must-knows for the month, what you can do about them, what you can expect, what areas of life will be highlighted. The aspects that we're most going to focus on are going to be in favorable angles to your Scorpio placements. Even the ones that are in conflict with each other, there's some kind of tie-in that has something positive for Scorpios because there's all of this earth energy and water energy, and those are making favorable aspects to your placement. So even in the events where we have conflicts, and there are quite a few of those this month as well, there are still these sweet patches that are just making their way through. This month is of critical importance in the scheme of 2019 and in the scheme of the whole year because it is one of the last months where we don't have personal planet retrograde influence for the whole 2019 into all of 2020. So I definitely have resources that I will share about how to understand the bigger picture. I've done a general transit video that's separate than this Scorpio specific video that goes into the timeline and how we place September throughout the year and into next year. And it also places September of critical importance for taking action because it's one of the months with the most clear stars for a while. And it's going to be kind of a premium time to get some important stuff done. So I'm going to show you all of the charts and show you how the early, middle, and late degree placements are highlighted with the things we're going to discuss. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the top 3 things that Scorpios must know for this month. But first, let's figure out if you are an early, middle, or late degree placement. Early are our October born, or 0 to 9 degrees. Middle, November 1st through 10th, or 10 to 19 degrees, and late, November 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. If you're watching for Scorpio moon or Scorpio rising, this report is for you equally as if it were your sun sign, because the sun chart, the moon chart, and the rising sign chart carry equal weight in the astrological picture. They are 3 separate pieces that are part of the bigger picture. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about, and I'm going to use the middle degree chart, but I am going to be talking about this for all Scorpios until I start differentiating out. Okay? So the first thing that's going on that's very noteworthy is that there's a stellium of Virgo planets in the sky. First of all, this makes a beautiful aspect to Scorpio placement. So in general, this is a time that flows well with Scorpio energy. There's also going to be a series of trines as all these planets connect with these Capricorn planets. The most harmonious aspect in all of astrology will be created. You know, I'm a trine chaser. I always want to know where those trines are going to be so I can tell you about the sweet possibilities. And so basically, the Virgo stellium and the Capricorn stellium are making a yummy Scorpio sandwich because Scorpio is 60 degrees between here, 60 degrees between here, and these are the bread pieces, and those are just amazing. So you're going to be enveloped in this support through material and practical realms. All right, now I want to show you what areas of life are most likely going to be aspected, or accentuated rather, to brought in the forefront. So I'll show you the houses and then I'll tell you what it means. The houses are fields of experience that we have as humans, and as planets crowd in those houses, it's like a party or a conference or a get-together in that field of experience. So the party goers are the planets, and they each have their personalities. The mood that they're in is the sign, and the location they're gathering is the house. So we can see what this lights up for us in our lives by checking to see where the clusters are passing. All right, so the 10th and 11th, okay, this is for early, and I will make a grid for this. 10th and 11th plus 3rd. And do note that when we talk later about this opposition with Neptune, this part of the equation is going to be the same. So we'll just bring in the Neptune piece after. But know that, quite a few things that go on this month are going to accentuate the areas where this cluster is. So there's a lot of weight. So for the middle degree, that is mostly the 10th house, but really since these aspects are happening more towards here, it could be 10th or 11th. And then the late degree is pretty purely in the 10th. Okay, and then moving back down, I forgot to add here, second. Okay, so the 3rd house for the early, the 2nd and 3rd for the middle, and the 2nd for the late. Okay, so look for sweetness. For the middle and late, we've got 2nd and 10th. So you've got money, your own personal income, material possessions, your connection with the earth, sustainability. So sweet things possibly there. And then the 10th is career, work, employment, connections with fathers, authority figures, recognition, and fame are there as well. So the middle degrees and late degrees, you've got all that going on. Then the middle and the early, you can see it's very busy for middle, have 3rd house. So there could be sweet things involving siblings or relatives or cousins, cousins, aunts, uncles, things like that. Relatives that aren't your parents or kids, basically. Phones, other devices, anything communication-based, writing projects, editing, things like that. Cars, transportation, and mobility, things like that, are all possible sweet places that can be accentuated. And then the 11th house for early and middle has to do with your tribe, your group, your community, teaching, things having to do with networking, friendship, social media, acquaintances, people connecting you in with things that you need or want. If you happen to be a person who works in the tech field or in any of the other arenas I just listed, then even the early could have work stuff come up because the work would come through the 11th house, not the typical 10th house of work or the 2nd house of money. So look for blessings in those areas as that Scorpio sandwich is made. The second must know is about these Virgo planets opposing Neptune. So as these all get to that 17-degree point, they're all going to oppose Neptune. So there's a lot of that goes on. An opposition, so this general piece is for early, middle, and late, and then I'll drill down, and add the house piece in a minute. So in general, when there are oppositions, we feel like we're being pulled in 2 different directions, but this doesn't have to be a bad thing. This can be a good thing, like one area of life is super activated and another area of life is super activated and everything is activated and it's like an amazing frenzy of awesomeness. But usually tiredness, exhaustion, super busyness is involved in this. And sometimes it does pit parts of your life ahead, working against each other or not on the same page or conflicts or discord. It could manifest that way. But because the angles are so sweet to your Scorpio placements, in general, I think that even this, challenging potential of the oppositions are going to tend to manifest positively for Scorpio. And that's actually true for all the things we're going to talk about today. Any of the bumps make awesome aspects to your placement. So I would expect those things to, have much more positive outcome for you. All right, now the piece where we look at the house that Neptune's in to see what other fields of experience is in this push and pull. All right, we already know that the 10th, 11th house, as we just talked about for early, the 10th, 11th house for middle, and the 10th house for late is going to be involved either in the struggle, the antagonism, the awesomeness, the having all the balls up in the air and feeling like a superhero. That's also what an opposition does. But early we'll have the 5th house. We'll talk about what that means in a second. Middle, you're going to have 5th and 4th because it's on the line there. And then late is more for the 4th house. So for the early and middle, having the 5th house involved in this is basically going to be your creativity versus the group and the community, like your individual output versus your place in the group. And a very positive way this can manifest is, let's say you are getting your work out there. Let's say you're a musician. This is a house of musician energy and lots of other talents as well. Let's say you're getting your work out there, and maybe your work is getting out there because you're with your tribe and the tribe is helping you, or you're doing something within your group. And so it's very much about you and your work, and it's very much about your place in the group. All right, so that's early and middle. Also, the 5th house has to do with children. And then, of course, over here, so children versus work, children versus you being a part of a group. So just kind of like parents or people who take care of children will very much see this kind of like kids need a lot and your other things over here need a lot. So that's very possible. The 5th house also is romance. So your romantic relationship may be having a lot of activity, and then, these other sectors of life also having a lot of activity. So early and middle, things like that. Your talents, your hobbies, your creativity versus all of that other stuff, what you have to do out in the world. The middle and late degree placements will have this 4th house piece come in. And this has to do with home and family. So because of the kids being in the 5th house and romance being in the 5th house, there are some similar tie-ins here. If you live with your romantic partner, then the home thing could be showing up here. But the home piece also is any other family member, is, anything having to do with houses, homes, real estate, home-based projects, things, housing, things like that. There could be overstimulation. So like work and home tugging in a big way is basically the story. Or the for the middle, the place in the group, tugging. But again, this doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's definitely going to be overstimulating, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. And really one of the themes of the month for everybody is that if you work hard and you pay attention to the details, you can make some really amazing outcomes. All right, the third piece has to do with Jupiter being direct. We talked about that last month. It's very exciting. And along with that, there are going to be some Jupiter squares. So let's look at that in each of the charts. So again, this cluster is accentuated. And it's bringing in for the early and middle degree the 2nd house of money, your earned income. And then the late degree, this is bringing in your 1st house, which I'll get to in a second. So it's basically saying you're going to have to do quite a bit of work, but there'll probably be a good financial gain. So, you might have to do the networking, do the connecting with people, do the showing up at the group meetings, and then the money comes. What's really great for early and middle degree Scorpios, is that Jupiter moving through the 2nd house very, very often increases your income. This is one of the most common manifestations I see. Now, do note, if you are not a vibrational match to receive more money, no Jupiter transit in the world is going to give you your money, because you have to be a match for it. But if you've been doing work on your self-esteem, on, getting educated, becoming an expert in your field, any of those money paradigms that have been limiting you, parental, societal money belief systems, the Jupiter transit can't get around those. And what Jupiter can tend to do, if you have one of those belief systems that needs to be cleared, can tend to make problems worse for you. So if you notice that happening, then that's a signal. Okay, and he said that if it seems to be getting worse, it's trying to put it more in your face to say, hey, you believe something that's consistent with this uncomfortable reality. Let's do the inner work so that you can believe something else on the unconscious level. This isn't usually about your conscious belief. It's what your unconscious believes that's sending out this strong magnet to the universe to attract to you a certain reality. You're creating it from your inside. So for those of you who've done the work, money, especially starting in August, may roll in a big way. You may have seen it sooner. But now, as you have these aspects, there may be a little bit more work to do and some details and some discipline, but the chance for that resulting in more money and more things, important material items, kind of getting your standard of living up, that can be really happening. So everything that I just said about the money sector being expanded and the belief systems, you late degree friends, you're not left out of this. It's just staggered for you. So it started a whisper here for you in the second house, like earlier in the year towards April, March and April, but then it went retrograde and it just sort of backed into the first house again. But as we get later into the year here, I mean, we already are, after September, so like October, November, you're going to start really feeling these money potentials, and then you're going to have them there for a long time. So once they start to fade out for the early and then later for the middle, you're still going to have a longer time, late degree, of the chance for that money expansion. But for the late and for the middle, these squares and Jupiter going direct can also have some first house influence. So for the middle degree placements, that could mean there's a little bit more foundational work to do before you get your money expansion. That first house, everything goes in order. It builds upon each other. So the first house is like the basic foundation. We could call it like root chakra energy. So, getting your foundation straight, getting your self-esteem good, getting your, all of the things straight within you, so that you can build and then go to the next level. And then there's still more work to do, inner work and self-esteem work in the second house. But the first house has to do with also defining your image and defining your brand and defining your audience and who it is that you want to help and who it is you want to hear your messages and who it is you want to receive your gifts. So with this all going on in the first house, you might have to get a better exercise routine to help your mind be more clear. You might have to get a better meditation routine to, help to set all of this in motion. You might have some health issues that need to be addressed before you can have the energy levels to take on trying to make more money and then keeping that up. All of that foundational work. So middle, you might have a little bit more of that. Late, that is where the focus is now for a bit longer so that you can build upon it later. The last thing that is very noteworthy to mention, and this is something that is true for every sign, but I want to put this here. September 2019 shines in the scheme of the next year and 4 months. So basically the rest of 2019 and all of 2020, because in all of that time, September 2019 through all of 2020, the end of December 31st, 2020, September of 2019 and January of 2020 are the only months that are completely free and clear from personal planet retrogrades. Once we are done with September and October 12th comes and the shadow period for Mercury, pre-retrograde shadow starts, we're going to have every month be at least partly or completely covered in retrograde personal planets, so Venus, Mars, Mercury, retrograde or shadow period. At least part of the month. There are some breathing, bubbling up for air points throughout the month. So if you have to do launches and things like that in between, I will be walking you through all of this. And I do actually give you more of an overview. If you listen to my September 2019 must-knows for all signs, then I do give an overview of the shadow period dates and retrograde dates for the rest of this year, and then more information, just like a sneak peek into an overview of 2020. So that makes this month really critical if you've got important things that you have to get out into the world. Now, do know that retrogrades are amazing for so many things. So you don't have to stress. It's not like you can't do anything. Some people have that misconception. And I specialize in focusing on what you can do in retrogrades. And I have blogs and videos to support you through all of that. But two of the really big things that are better for when the energies are direct are launching brand new things out like you've never been seen before, your life's work, the culmination of, something super new. It's not an edit, it's not a refurbish, it's just like brand new. And making really huge decisions and commitments, because you don't have that shadow, or full cloak of retrograde that's clouding the details. So this month is a shining star when we look at the scheme of the period of time to come. And if you are not ready to do your launches now, but you still want to do them this year, then you can use this month to get all your ducks in a row, and then you can fine-tune things, and then December 9th through the rest of the year, actually December 9th through February 2nd, is wide open for launches. So you can do the dirty work now and then get your launches out in those dates. And that's another way that you can do it to match the flow of the energy. Because like we always say, I always say, if you are on a deserted island and you want to get off the island and the tide's coming in, you're not going to put your boat out, right? So that's the retrogrades. The tides are going in. You want to wait until the tides are going out. And then you're like, yeah, I know I'm getting off this island because the tide is going that way and my boat is going that way. And that's what I'm going to do. So if you love details like these, I have so many more places that you can get resources for this month and in general astrology. So definitely listen to my video, September 2019 Must-Knows for All Signs. That's going to give you lots more details about how these aspects can show up and how you can best use them. I have written horoscopes that are usually talking about things different than the videos for each month. So you can see those at cozybysweetstarlight.com. There are also astrology and other blogs there at cozybysweetstarlight.com. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com to see my massive amount of astrology blogs to help you with transits that are occurring now, and other goodies on my site. You can sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com, which will get you a write-up about the general aspects with all of them listed so that you have them for your planning purposes, always a month early. So you can do that at anniehelpsyou.com. Plus you get my free 20-day coaching program called Shine when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So I also have astrology education. So all the things I just listed are all free, and I do those for you every month. But I also have some even more in-depth astrology education options at anniehelpsyou.com that you can check out. I would love for you to learn with me. Definitely check out my book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, an Amazon bestseller, and a wonderful companion for my fellow spiritual seekers. So you can see that on Amazon or at radicalprayerbook.com. And you can check out my husband's site for even more resources that he offers, which is iamhelios.com. So he's BR Newman at iamhelios.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.